All right. This is my review for November 7th, 2025. And you can see this is a really, really strong session. Um, the um, the key takeaway from the last session essentially is that my win rate yesterday was very low, but but I still managed to be profitable. And today my win rate was very high, but my risk reward was actually negative. My average win was 3.5 ticks, and my average loss was 5 ticks. Um, so despite having a negative risk reward today, I was still very profitable. Um, I think that's kind of a testament to my system. Um, it allows me to make up in areas where I might be slacking. Um, and I think we'll see in the trade reviews themselves that that's kind of what happened today. Is there were areas where my system was lacking, but there are necessary guardrails in place to prevent that from um, spiraling and resulting in a red day. So let's get into it. I need to paste my recording in here first. Wait. All right. So let's start off with trend context. Actually even pull up my Sierra charts for this. If we look at the daily chart, I'm still using last month's VWAP levels. So pretty much all day today we were trading below VWAP, but not quite the VWAP -1. Actually, currently it looks like we are trading that. But I stopped my session almost an hour ago at this point. On the weekly VWAP, the entire session we were below the -1 VWAP. So nothing crazy to be gained from that. And then on the daily as well, we were also almost exclusively below. I'll pull up this one. No, actually, it was pretty mixed. Off the open, we were spending a lot of time below the lower band, but then after that, we were kind of trading between. We were pretty tight on the VWAP today, so I think that is reflected in my trading a bit. So we had 3 consecutive short trades, we had 3 consecutive long trades, and then we finished the session with 2 more short trades. That is a total of 8 trades. I only had 1 loser, so 7 wins, 1 loss, 87.5% win rate, which is extraordinarily high. And then I already went over the average. Average win was 3.6 ticks, average loss was 5 ticks. So, with that in mind, I do have the tags here for VWAP. Hopefully, I do not need to copy those too much. Let's jump into trade number 1. Trade 1 is a 1 tick profit to the short side. Let's listen to the narration a bit. ATR candle down. I'm going to try and sell 7. It touched it, but didn't quite fill it. I'm going to take this off for 1 tick, I think I got. So this would have been a very good trade if I was just a little quicker on it. I missed the initial trade, which if I had gotten filled the moment I placed the trade, it would have went in my profit 4 ticks, which is that's a trade. Like that is, I would have taken it off at 4 ticks.
Getting a little too jumpy and we're too close to low day. Reclaim risk is
Where I got filled. I think that it had started to trend upwards. You can see the 3-second chart here. It's starting to put in higher lows, and the highs are kind of not breaching. We're just kind of compressing upwards against myself. So getting a 1 tick profit out of this was kind of just an emergency exit. I'm glad I got to take profit, but I would have had to get out of this regardless of P&L eventually. So it was a decent attempt. I can definitely see the setup here. Then this is actually a pretty good setup. It's not amazing by any means, but it's a setup nonetheless. So this was an ATR candle continuation with momentum. I'm gonna grade it as a C. It's not a great setup, but they pay the bills, and it was a tight trade, and I executed it tight for sure. Below the 50 SMA. This was an aggressive scalp in a risk-off environment. This is actually a risk-on environment, I would say, because we have time frame confluence. I will trade that as such. My entry was late. I wish I had gotten filled sooner on it, but my exit was good. I'm glad I got out where I did. I definitely had trend favor on this one, but I don't think I had a whole lot else, honestly. I'm going to mark strong tape because price was pretty violently screaming to the downside. I had slip favor on this one. I was pretty clear, and I did have a good pulse check before I took this trade. I am actually very calm. My heart rate is below 90, which almost never happens. I am content, and I am pretty patient. I'll take it as maybe patient. We're only 5 minutes after the open at this point, which is pretty impatient, but I'm also, it's a good setup. It's not like I'm forcing anything here. So I will green star this trade. Trade number 2 is a 5-tick loss to the short side. This was my only loss of the day. This territory here, 90. So I'm going to rewind it and we'll listen to the narration a little bit. I'm going to try selling 94.25s. So we're kind of chasing down here. You can see that sometimes a trend can be too strong. And what I mean by that is that the potential for capitulation is very high. We've traded so fast to the downside in such a short period of time that the rubber band effect could be violent here. So you can see here we have 3, almost 4 consecutive ATR candles to the downside. And we're trading below the lower band of the Keltner channel. I'm going to pull it, I think, for a so this was a very good cut. I'm glad I got out of it. Down here. I should not have been trading down here, though, so I think I'm going to have to red star this one. We had trend favor on this guy. Where's my entry? Let's go back to where my entry is. We're getting into chase territory here. And I say we're getting into chase territory, so I might put chasing tag on. We are far below the 50 moving average. We're far below every other VWAP band. This was an ATR candle continuation with momentum, but I'm going to call it a D setup. This is not. I should not be chasing down here. There wasn't really any slip advantage because price was moving too fast. I think I was a little confused here, but when price is moving too fast, I don't have clarity. However, I was still very calm. I was content with taking this loss. It was a lesson I had to learn. And I'll put maybe patient because we are still pretty close to the open here. So I think that's it. This will be an aggressive scalp in a risk-on environment. So this is not against my bias. And I think that's it. So does look trade number 3 is a 7-tick profit to the short side. Let's try the short at 90.75. I'll take it off at 89. So very quick trade. That was a 3-second hold time. These were all very quick trades today. My longest trade today was 10 seconds, if that's any indication of how quick we were trading today. So just a very, very quick price action. All right, so back to where we were. Very quick trade. The trend is still very strong here, but we're back within the Keltner channel. The point of being back within the Keltner channel is that this is not a capitulatory trend. It's not moving too fast. It's moving just fast enough. Just fast enough for me to be able to catch it. And that's exactly what I did. So this was a great trade. And I'm still remarkably calm. It's almost scary how calm I was today. Below 90 beats per minute. We had a couple things working for us here. We had the order block. I don't quite want to call this spoofing. We had trend favor. We also had a decent invalidation, but I won't mark it because I like invalidations to be on the 30 seconds, so I'm not going to tag that quite yet. In strong tape, the tape was extraordinarily strong. Entry good, exit good. I could not have asked for more out of this trade. Conservative scalp, risk on environment. ATR candle fade. We had a green ATR candle that we're fading into. I'm going to call this an A setup with momentum. We are well below the 50 moving average. We had slip favor. I was clear, calm, content, and patient. Green star. So, trade number 4 is a
Let's try
3-tick profit to the long side. Let's rewind and watch the narration. Yeah, not quite. I am comfortable with this uptrend though. I'm going to try a long 95.75. I'm going to take it off 3 ticks. Let's just take a couple notes about this one. We are just barely trading above the -1 VWAP. So which means that according to my system, their longs are on the table. I never want to be long below VWAP -1 because the trend is too strong. Arguably, at this point, the trend is still very strong to the downside. However, I have some pretty good um, confirmation that we might be bouncing upwards, at least just temporarily. For one, we do have a very big seller block below us, which means that those sellers could at least be getting squeezed temporarily. It's got a very nice V flush look to it. We've got a lot of reclaim above us, a lot of reclaim, and we're now above that VWAP -1 band. So my thinking here is that we might have a little bit of relief to the upside, and it looks like we do. This was above the 50 SMA. It was also above the -1 VWAP, but I still do need the monthly and weekly tagged in there. Try a long. So I'm gonna say that this was trend against, because we're still, according to the VWAPs, we're still very clearly in a downtrend. However, that being said, I did have big order blocks, small order blocks, reclaim favor. I'm gonna put V flush on. Usually I like it when V flushes are on an area of support, but it's just picture perfect in this sense. Like it is a very picturesque V flush. And I'll take multiple factors of support. This is not a momentum trade. This is more of a mean reversion trade. But I still do have ATR candle continuation. Yeah, ATR candle continuation. I had slip favor. This was kind of an aggressive scalp. But again, we are in a risk on environment. Even though I'm trading against the trends, I still think that risk on just means like we're volatile, like moves are happening. So I'm fine with keeping risk on tag for longs and shorts in this environment. My entry was good. My exit was good because I think it came back. I took it off for 3 ticks and then it comes back on me. So I got out at the perfect time, literally. And that's pretty much it. I was clear. I was still pretty calm. My heart rate's slightly elevated, 97 beats per minute. I'm content, and I'm pretty patient at this point. I will green star this one. Oh, setup quality, I'm going to call it C. It's not great, but it pays the bills. These are still trades worth taking. I do want to screenshot this one though, just because I think the context of where we are trading is important. I'm gonna take it off 3 ticks. It's just taking a little. I want the setup quality, the quality to be better. There we go. Let's get that 1080p on the screenshot so I can see everything. So, an ATR candle continuation here. This was roughly my entry, and I take it off at 95.75. that's fair. So my entry, my exit, very quick scalp to the upside. I'm gonna call this a V bottom. V bottom. Because it's not flushing. We're not flushing anything out, but we do have a nice V bottom here. Big seller could be squeezed. And we have a huge reclaim advantage. Reclaim. All right, so I just wanted to screenshot that real quick so I had an idea of what was going on as far as mean reversion is concerned. Was this 3 ticks? Yeah, it was. I moved that entry down by 1. So, still a green star. Decent attempt at a mean reversion. I'm very glad I got out when I did. What I wrote on the screenshot was that quick exit because downtrend is so strong and price could suck back in very fast. So, while the potential for a mean reversion is high, like we've all seen mean reversions happen so quickly, and they go way back to their opening price, and there's a huge move, and we do 50 points in a couple minutes. The downside risk is still so extreme because we have so many time frames agreeing on direction, so it's just best to be tight on these. Be so tight. Be super, super tight. So almost 10 minutes later, I take a break because price is getting way too choppy, and you can see here how choppy it is. I take a break and come back a little later. And this looks like a breakout. It looks like a breakout of this local range here, or at least this resistance. There was a point I wanted to make before I did this, though. Oh, we lost time frame confluence. So on the intraday VWAP, we're now trading above VWAP, which means that now the time frames aren't all agreeing on a direction. So I have lost the full time frame confluence tag. which means that we're now in a risk-off environment. This is trade number 5, and it's a 4-tick profit to the long side. Let's watch it. Since we still have reclaim assists, I'm going to bid 5s, long 5s, off the 650, picked up a point there. So again, a very quick trade. I did not have ATR candle here. It was more so just a long at the retest of the support, or the resistance that has turned into support. I'm hoping it'll turn into support. So the prior resistance was at 475, and I think my long was at 5 evens. And it didn't pull back on me a tick, I don't think. Oh no, I'm mistaken. So 550 was where I went. So 550 long, out at 650 for the point. And this is just a retest of that support. It ends up failing, but guess what? I got a point out of it. I made a profitable trade out of an ideal that failed, and that's kind of the point of scalping, is you're protecting yourself. So this was a breakout trade. I'm gonna give it a C grade. I don't think it's amazing, but it's still good enough to pay the bills. We have huge reclaim advantage. I think at the time of entry we had strong tape. Let's back up and confirm that. So yeah, at the time of entry we had pretty strong tape. It looks like buyers are stepping in here. So let's tag that as strong tape. We have big order blocks and small order blocks above us. We actually don't have order blocks above us, interestingly enough. I just automatically assumed because we have so much strong reclaim, but we've actually invalidated the one big order block that we had here, and there's none above us, interestingly enough. So never mind, I can't tag, I can probably tag small because there are small order blocks, but there are no big ones above us. Pretty clear breakout, got a retest. I'm hesitant to call this trend favor because we are still kind of chopping around here. So I will not tag trend favor, but I also won't tag trend against because I think we're kind of ranging almost. Support resistance area. We broke above that support resistance area. So I will tag that multiple factors of support. Entry good, exit good. This was pretty aggressive. This was an aggressive scalp in a risk-off environment, which means I was against my bias, technically. No ATR candles, just a breakout. I did have slip favor on it. I was clear, calm, content, and I was very patient. I waited almost 10 minutes for the setup, more than 10 minutes. And this will be a green star. Trade number 6 is a 1-tick profit to the long side. 50 for the long, filled 850. I'm gonna take it off for 2 ticks if it'll let me. 1 tick. So I could have gotten more out of this. I could have gotten a point out of it. But I really didn't like the way the 3-second chart was bouncing around after I got in. You can see here that this is the green ATR candle that I am trading continuation on. But this is also the local high. So we breach local high and then we suck back down and I go long. And the problem with that is if we breach a local high and then suck back down, it could be fake out. Like it could be shaking out and then trading lower. So I think I did a good job of getting out of this. Granted, it did go on to go in my favor, but I think this was a good exit. So entry good, exit good. We had some small order blocks in our favor. We had a very strong reclaim in our favor. What did the tape look like? Did we have strong tape along? No, not really. If anything, it was strong against us. But we did have a support resistance area. This was a little bit of an aggressive scalp, risk off. We're still trading above the VWAP here. Go ahead and bid to make sure my tags are all right on the other trades. So aggressive and a risk off means I'm against my bias. This was an ATR candle continuation with momentum, and I think it was also a breakout. No, not really, but I will trade support resistance area. It's not really a breakout because it hasn't been basing for that long. This is a C setup. It's not amazing, but I still want to trade it. And we are above the 50 SMA. I did have slip favor on this one. I was clear. I was still very calm, content, and patient. This will be a green star. Next trade number 7, is a 6-tick profit to the short side. So we have flipped bias here. I'm going to short into 175. A lot of drawdown on this one. That one draws down on me almost 7 ticks, I think. Let's get an exact number. MAE 6. So it draws down 6 ticks, but it gives me... Did I read that wrong? Yeah, it draws down 6 ticks, but it gives me 7 ticks MFE, but I took it off for 6 ticks. So I lost a tick, technically. According to my system, my target should have been the bottom of the ATR candle. 6-tick profit. And it looks like that would have hit it, so... but I won't tag this early exit because I think 6 ticks is exactly what this trade is worth. So, entry good, exit good. We do have large and small order blocks below us that we want to trade into. I will call this trend favor because we are now back below VWAP and we've got full time frame confluence. Trend favor. What else do we got going for us here? We don't exactly have reclaim. What's the tape look like? Tape is not very strong. So I think those are the only tags I'm going to put on there. Was this spoofing? I think this may have been spoofing because it went up on almost nothing. Yeah, let's go ahead and tag that as spoofing. And I'll put the multiple factors support tag on there. This was a conservative scalp. We are now back to risk on because all the trends are aligning again. This was ATR candle fade. This was momentum. And this was a very good setup. I'll call it an A. Slip favor, clear, calm, content, patient, and green star. A setup. So I think that's very good. I will absolutely take that trade to the bank any day of the week. This is trade number 8. This was a 3-tick profit to the short side. And it's almost an identical setup with the last one. So let's watch it. I'm going to try and fade it. 97.25 short. I'll take it off for the 3 ticks, just because again it is getting pretty quick here. Yeah, simple. We didn't have any big order blocks this time, so only small order blocks. We definitely had trend favor. We had full time frame confluence. This was a risk on environment. My entry was good. And I think that's it. We didn't have too many factors of support, but definitely enough for me to want to tag it. So I'll tag this as a B setup. It's not incredible, but it's not bad either. It's a very decent setup. We are below the 50 SMA. This was an ATR candle fade with momentum. I was clear here. I was relatively calm. My heart rate elevated a little bit. We're at 104 beats per minute. But I was content and I was patient. I actually talked about my heart rate being elevated, I think, and it's because um, I think I know subconsciously that I'm at the end of my session. I I've had such an incredible day with a 90% win rate. Um, I'm on how many trades is this? Um, I'm on a 6 trade winning streak, 6 consecutive wins, and it's a Friday, and that's the important part. Is Fridays can be so brutal because your mind just wants to. On one hand, it might want to just be done with the week and be like, oh, let's get this over with. Or on the other hand, it might be like, oh man, I don't want to be done trading before the weekend. I have so many um, profit goals that I need to meet or whatever bullshit, or maybe you're down on the week and you want to fix mistakes. Fridays are just brutal for psychology. And I think when I took this trade, I realized I'm like, okay, it's Friday. I'm up a lot on the day. I should stop. I should not be trading anymore. And I think that's why my heart rate was elevated. But that being said, on its face, this is an incredible setup, uh, incredible session, really. So trade number 8 will also be a green star. Um, and that's it. That's all my trades. Let's go look at the overview. Um, color by rating. All 90% of my trades were green stars today. I didn't have any yellow star trades. It was just one red star, an easily avoidable trade. But those happen. You know, you have to be content with those mistakes, so to speak. They're always going to be there. Losses are always going to be a part of trading. There's no real avoiding it. As for daily report card, my long-term goal is to never attempt a trade idea more than twice, and I did that today. Not only did I do that today, but I exceeded as a trader, following my rules and staying disciplined. And I can't believe how calm I was today. 90 beats per minute, pretty much the entire session, is just exceptional. It's such a massive improvement from where I was even just last week. Last week, my average trade was, 120 beats per minute almost. So just a massive improvement, and I think that's just confidence in my system. I've traded it enough, I've paper traded it enough, and I've collected enough data to know exactly um, what my system is. Um, I have that confidence now, which is clear in my trading. Um, um, so for that reason, I'll give myself an A plus today. How could I not? So what an awesome session. Um, just picture perfect. It could not have been better. Maybe 100% win rate would have been nice, but who cares? Who cares about win rate? It's just following your system, and that's exactly what I did today. The easiest trade today would probably be which one? It does look fadeable. Let's try the short at. Where was my A plus? Did I have an A plus today? I thought I did. Go ahead and bid. No, I only had A's. I think it's going to be trade number 3. I didn't even have that many factors to support, but it's just the fact that the trend is so strong and it's so easy to follow the trend.
Let's try the short at 90.75.
I went short and it
I'll take it off at 80.
instantly went in my favor 7 ticks. Like instantly, 3-second hold time. It doesn't get better than that. And just being able to lean on my system and not have to worry about it. Like this, where I took this trade is only 10 minutes after the open and it is volatile. I'm willing to bet that the VIX hit a new high today because we are super volatile. Prices jumping everywhere. There's so much volume. We're down so far off the open. All of that sounds so stressful to me contemporarily. But look at my heart rate, 90 beats per minute. That's what trading is. It's ignoring all the noise, it's ignoring all the volatility. all the implications of price action, you know, where are we going to be trading tomorrow? Like, what's my P&L look like? All that is out of my mind in this moment. The only thing I'm thinking about is the setup, and I think that's why my beats per minute were so good. Things I did good, I leaned on my system. I didn't lean on an indicator. I didn't lean on order flow. I didn't lean on anything. I leaned on my system as it is clearly defined. Um, but at the same time, I didn't over rely on my system. I was very objective today. Or sorry, I was very subjective about my setup quality. There were a lot of really good setups today that I didn't take because they didn't look good to me. There were things that weren't aligning, and there's so many things that go into me taking a trade, where it has to be subjective. It has to be up to me, and I think that's why I did so good today. I think if I executed my system as it's written on paper today, I might have been red. I might have had a losing day, but it's the decisions that I made, the choices to not take certain trades, or the decisions to cut trades early. Those decisions that I made today were, I think, what made today such a good session. So, um, on one hand, I leaned on my system, and on the other hand, I didn't lean on my system too much. I think it was a perfect balance today. Um, I was also so calm. I think that's confidence. You know, I think I've I'm going on almost a month of trading this system, and the first couple weeks were brutal, but now I know what not to do, and I know when to hit the gas. And I think having that confidence was what kept my heart rate so low today. I just executed perfectly. I was also content with size. I think trading 2 lot minis the last couple weeks is a pretty big sign of discontent, and dropping down to 1 mini, taking away my tight stop. I was trading with a 10 tick stop for the longest time. Taking that away just gave me a little bit more room to breathe, and I'm not as worried about P&L, and I'm way more content with it. You know, I can afford to take a 20 tick loss and not have it ruin my day. And I think that has made a huge improvement in my, again, my confidence and my contentment. Um, Things I need to improve on. There's not much. Um, Maybe just territory here. Not chasing. I think that was the one thing I did wrong today. Was we put in such a sharp move off the open. I should not have chased that. Um, I would also like to pay just a little bit more attention to context.
Bid.
I did a good job of that today, but there were still moments where I was tempted to take a trade, but it would have been bad. And granted, today I avoided that, but there are going to be days where I take those bad trades, and I don't want to. I don't want to pretend that today I was an amazing trader, because there were the potential for mistakes to be made, and a lot of that is luck. I'm lucky I didn't make those mistakes, but I still think there's work that needs to be done on paying attention to context and just making sure I'm keeping up to date on, you know, where my support resistance levels are, you know, the directional bias, um, where those big order blocks might be, reclaims, stuff like that. Just overall paying attention to the context. I think that's just something that I'm gonna have to keep working on over the next couple days, weeks. And that's pretty much it. Incredible session. I think this is the best session I've had in months, many months. Um, Not just P&L wise. I've had better sessions P&L wise, but more so just execution wise and emotions. Like 90 beats per minute is like, that's me being asleep almost. Like, that is so low. That is the lowest heart rate that I've tagged, since I started tracking my heart rate, which is just incredible. So I plan on keeping it that way in the future, and I will strive to do so.